The God of Poverty and the God of Fortune. Once upon a time, there was a very poor man. He was a hard worker, but no matter how hard he worked, he never became better off. That was because the God of Poverty was living in his house. One day, the villagers found a bride for the poor man. The bride was not only very beautiful, but also a hard worker. She worked very hard from morning till night. What a good bride I've got! All right, I will work harder too. The man worked harder than ever before. Then the God of Poverty was at a loss what to do. Oh dear, what a hard-working couple they are. I feel uncomfortable here now. What should I do? The God of Poverty was getting out of spirits day by day. Several years passed. On a New Year's Eve, the couple prepared what little treat they could afford and were about to welcome the new year. Then they heard a cry from the attic. Dear me, who is that crying? The man went to the attic to find an old man in dirty clothes crying loudly. Who on earth are you? Me, I'm the God of Poverty. I have been living in this house all along, but you two work so hard that the God of Fortune is coming here tonight. When he comes, I have to leave this house. The man was a little disappointed to know that his guardian god was the God of Poverty, but he felt he should pay respect to him as a god, no matter what god it was. The man and the God of Poverty went downstairs, and he explained the situation to his wife. Then he felt sorry for the God of Poverty and said, in spite of himself, "Since you have been living here for such a long time, you shall stay here from now on too." Then his wife also said, "That's right. I agree with him." No matter where the God of Poverty went, he was disliked by everyone, so it was the very first time for him to hear such kind words to him. This time he cried with joy. In the meantime, it became midnight, and the bell of the New Year's Eve began ringing. This was the sign for gods to change their positions. Then there was a rap at the door. Who is it that visits us so late at night? Ha ha! Sorry to have kept you waiting so long. I'm the one who came all the way from the kingdom of God as a guardian of happiness. Yes, it's me, the God of Fortune, for whom everybody is longing. At last the God of Fortune arrived at their house. Noticing the God of Poverty, the God of Fortune said, "You, still here? This dirty guy! Get lost or I'll kick you out." The God of Poverty, however, would not obey his order. "What? Say it again." The God of Poverty rushed at the God of Fortune, but he was so thin that he was no match for the big fat God of Fortune. Watching this battle, the couple shouted, "Watch out! God of Poverty, hang in there!" Hearing this, the God of Fortune was very surprised. "What? Why are you cheering for the God of Poverty?" The couple and the God of Poverty pushed the God of Fortune out of the house. Heave ho! Heave ho! At last the three hustled the God of Fortune outside. Having been hustled out, the God of Fortune stood stunned with dismay. "You know, I am the God of Fortune, and it is the God of Poverty that stays inside. It should be normal that the God of Poverty is disliked and the God of Fortune is respected and treasured. What on earth is happening here?" He fell to thinking and walked away with a heavy heart. "Hurrah! We did it!" The three shouted with joy. The next day was the New Year's Day. The couple and the God of Poverty celebrated the New Year together. The same as always, the couple could not become rich because of the god of poverty, but they lived a healthy, happy life ever after. The end.